All right guys, Omar here from my point of view, and today I have this 2020 Nissan Altima SR. So this is the front wheel drive model. Yes, front wheel drive, because this thing is actually optional in all wheel drive as well. But I have the front wheel drive SR model, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated. So let's go ahead and dive into it real quick, because I only have 25 minutes left on this SD card. Actually, I'm going to compare this to the 2019 Toyota Camry SE that I had as well. There are a lot of similarities between the two, so let's go ahead and just dive into it real quick. So like I stated earlier, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, inline 4, 188 brake horsepower, 180 foot-pounds of torque, CVT transmission. Doesn't say Jacko, but it's a CVT transmission. We're gonna go more into depth about the powertrain here in a second, but base price here is $25,700. As price, this is $26,905. And of course, this thing was made for fleet. Okay, so the last Nissan that I actually reviewed was the Sentra. I think that was the 2018 model. This was Sentra. Then I reviewed it to the 2020 Nissan Sentra. I believe that was the SL trim level. I don't recall the trim level as well. But the Sentra that I had was the SR Turbo. This is also SR, but it's not turbo as well. And the SR, if I had it in white, I'm pretty sure the mirrors would be blacked out as well. It wouldn't be to the extreme as the Turbo as the Sentra. But what I'm getting on with this is a new generation Altima. I did actually like the previous generation design. This is actually pretty good as well. And people are going to mistake it for a Maxima if they're not a huge car enthusiast, if they know what a Maxima is. But this is new for Nissan, the little V-motion grille, nice, big, and bold. This is the new little plaque for Nissan as well. Actually, Nissan actually changed their emblem as well, so eventually these are going to be replaced. But yeah, styling wise, I like the wheels, and these wheels are actually pretty similar, not the same, but similar to the Camry SEs that I reviewed as well. So you had this little alloy or whatever color right here, and then you got this little black little texture over here. I'm not for sure how to actually call those wheels, but I am kind of digging those. I'm not a huge fan of black wheels, but I am digging those wheels. Side proportions is very nice and beautiful. You do have this floating roof design right here, which you can't really see because it's blacked out. The car is blacked as well. This little black plastic trim right here. As you can see, I just scratched it up by doing that. So the rear design, and this is kind of a little, this is what I just noticed. It's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, but has dual exhaust. No V6 option for the Altima in this generation, but you do have a turbocharged 4-cylinder available and all-wheel drive as well. I do like it when the car manufacturers insert like this yellow bar for the turn signal, besides it being red and then just illuminating yellow or just flashing red. It's something about yellow turn signals I just like about them. But that's just a quick overview of the styling of the exterior. So let's go inside real quick. But before we do, the key will be in my pocket. But again, this is the same old key fob that Nissan's been making for quite some time. But this does have remote start. So you just hit the lock button at the top and then hold the circle here. But you want to turn off the vehicle, hit the circle again. So keys will be in my pocket. And just like the Chevrolet, you don't put your hand behind the handle and it opens. You have to press a little button right here. So if you press this button on the driver's side, then obviously just the driver's side will open. Button once, press it again twice, then all the doors open. Same for the other side as well, the passenger side. If you just press the passenger side, I was assuming that all the doors are open because it's the passenger, but same applies over here. And now hopping on in. It does have nice little seats in here, little leather seats. Little sports trim, and this is the reason why I'm actually comparing it to the Camry SE that I reviewed, like one of my first 5 videos. Seats are very, very comfortable. It's very windy outside. 6'9", it is very snug in here. I think you could get away with the Camry versus this if you're taller. Your right leg will be touching over here, but thankfully this is very soft padded material right here. I can't speak for the lower trim levels. I don't have time to go to the Nissan dealership today. Nice soft padded materials over here, at the top right here. Up here it's kind of, you know, a little firm, hard-ish, but it's not cheap plastic feeling. Overall, man, this is actually a very nice interior. Very simple layout. Only downside is, like the Camry, you can roll down all the windows up and down automatically. But for the Altima, it's only the driver's side automatic down and up. Gauge cluster is nice and big. easy to read. I get more to the tachometer here in a second, but also this being an SR model, you do have paddle shifters as well. But let's go for my foot on the brake, hit the button to start. Nice chunky buttons for the climate control, easy to use, easy to read. USB storage down here, auxiliary. This is the worst part about this car. When I try to plug up my phone just to charge it up, the Android Auto would just keep on popping up. I'm not for sure if it's the same for Apple CarPlay, but literally, so I'm actually charging my phone from the back USB so I can stop. It was just very annoying. 12-volt socket out here. Glove compartment's a decent size. CVT transmission, get more to that in a second on the driver dynamics. But I came in at Toyota's like short throw. And this is kind of, it's not long, it's not unnecessarily long, but I like the feeling of it versus the previous generation. And then once you put it into drive, you see this little button right here. When you press it, it goes into drive sport. See the little S down there. Now, to be fair, I don't really measure how far I put the passenger seat up. Obviously, someone probably won't be able to, well, probably so. But nevertheless, okay, so I'm sitting back here and I have leg room if someone obviously will put the seat forward. But as far as headroom, I'm slouching and yeah, I don't have that much headroom back here. Here goes the USB storage, which I'm using for the my phone up for front. You do have a little storage compartment here. It's actually big and wide, jeez Louise. And you do have little, I don't know, doors are locked. They got the child lock on. Yep, child lock. Anyway, anyways, you got storage compartment. You got a little storage down here on the doors as well. You do have armrests down here with the cup holders. You better. The seat comfort back here is actually very nice as well, but it wasn't as comfortable as the previous generation. I remember sitting in the back of that Altima, and those seats, I mean, this is very comfortable. I'm not trying to exclude how comfortable this is, but getting out, yeah, the door doesn't open up that wide. All right, open up the trunk. Same applies here. I got the key in my pocket, so of course it's gonna open up. I got a lot of stuff back here. Excuse the mess. Like I said, my car's in the shop. You do have a wide opening for a trunk, and you do have plenty of room. Let's just see if you have a spare tire back here. You do have a nice little cargo net. Once you open it up, you do have a jack stand, and I'm pretty sure there is a tire back here. But yeah, pop open the hood real quick. Like I said, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, made to CVT transmission. I believe this is the same engine in the previous generation. It's actually quieter, more refined. I'll go more with the driver dynamics later. 188 brake horsepower and 180 foot-pounds of torque. That's more horsepower than the Chevrolet Malibu that I reviewed. That thing only had like less than 170 brake horsepower with 1.5 4-cylinder turbo. It's a nice clean engine bay. So yeah, later on tonight, later throughout the review, I will go more over the driver dynamics of the vehicle, but now I gotta head to work. Okay, so I only have 11 minutes left on my SD card. That's where it's projecting, so this may seem a little bit rushed, but let's go ahead and just finish out this real quick little review before I do a quick little test drive. At nighttime, this thing is actually very beautiful. I know it's black, the exterior color is black, but the SR trim level have blacked out mirrors, if you have a sunroof, all that stuff. But obviously, you know, black on black, even with the black all little wheels, and this thing is actually very gorgeous. The LEDs bright up nice and light, actually brighter than the Toyota Camry as well. Yeah, just a pretty overall good looking design. I know it's subjective, but all mid-sized cars are actually looking pretty good in this segment. So let's go for a drive. Anyways, here's the cabin at night. Nice and beautiful. I mean, it's good not to have the windows tinted, but you know how a lot of Altima drivers are. And getting up to highway speeds, 188 brake horsepower, 180 foot-pounds of torque, CVT transmission. It actually gets up pretty well. Here's one thing I do like though. I'm currently going about 80 miles an hour coming down. I did put my foot on the gas just a little bit, but I am feeling the throttle also slightly. and as you can see, the engine is spinning directly at 2,000 RPM. This is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder CVT, no turbo, and it's cruising along like it's a V6 with a 9-speed automatic gearbox or a big lazy V8. So this thing does 39 miles per gallon on the highway, and this is why. This is exactly how and why. So that's actually very impressive. I guess that's the reason why they designed a tachometer like that, but who knows? Like I said earlier, you press the little button down over here, and now you see the little D2 down there, and we're gonna do a quick little acceleration here, but I'm actually on an incline going down, so let me get to a flat surface right here. All right, this is flat enough. Let's go for it. Foot to the floor. But it was actually very smooth. The engine wasn't extreme. The engine wasn't loud, so it was not as rapsy as like the Malibu or the Camry. CVT is actually shifting like a normal, you know, automatic gearbox, which kind of defeats the purpose of a CVT. But at least it's smooth. At least it's a drone and stuff like that. But it did its job pretty well. The only problem is when you're in sport mode and you come to a stop, the engine would try like to downshift like it's an actual, like a dual clutch for some reason. And sometimes when that happens, we at high speeds, it will like kind of bog down like whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, that's very unattractive. But obviously you can turn it off and just be in normal drive mode. Yes, turning radius is brilliant just to maneuver in and out. This is easier to drive than a Honda Accord. I think this is the easiest to, you know, the city car, I would say, out of the midsize segment, or at least the ones I've driven. All right, only got 6 minutes left on this SD card. That's what's saying on my GoPro. So let's go ahead and make this quick. Let's go ahead and close it out. My test drive is over for the 2020 Nissan Altima SR. Now, I've driven the previous generation. I think it was the SL. It has the same type of wheels, leather seats, all that stuff. I don't think the mirrors were blacked out, so I think it was the SL trim level. And what's good about this generation is that the previous generation, the ride height was a little bit too low. So every time you go over a little bump, if you had like 4 passengers, like 4 people in the car, the bottom of it will scratch up a lot. And it will scratch up like in the front of the car, like underneath the engine. So keep that in consideration. This is actually pretty good because I shuttle cars and I shuttle my drivers. And I would avoid driving those Nissan SLs because, or the Nissan generation in general, because the car is too low. So I've been on about that a little bit too much. But this is a huge improvement. It's more refined. And even looking at the price as well, let me check the MSRP price. So yeah, going back to this is the exact same trim level, package, stuff like that, the SR front wheel drive. This is total is $26,000. Well, let's go ahead and round up to $27,000 to be fair. The 2020 Malibu LT that I reviewed on this channel was also $27,000, but that had cloth seats. The steering wheel was a leather wrapped. This has like blind spot monitoring for collision. When you backing up, you're getting too close to the car, something like that, it'll brake for you as well. The only thing Malibu has over this is heated seats, and that's it. This has a nice leather wrap steering wheel. It even has leather seats as well. For $27,000, that's a good price for it. So the Toyota Camry, I drove the 2019 Toyota Camry SE, which is very similar to this. It has the same size displacement engine. It does have the same engine, 2.5 liter, 4-cylinder. Around the same horsepower as well. No, actually, I think the Camry had 200 brake horsepower, so there's like 20, 19, some change around there. But this actually doesn't feel like it's 20 horsepower down. 8-speed automatic gearbox versus CVT. Again, that choice is up to you. I'm not gonna go too much on it. But sadly, Nissan does have a good reputation of its CVT transmission, so I'm pretty sure people are gonna favor the Camry for that. But who knows, hopefully they've refined this transmission as well. Handling wise, this is actually handles better than a Camry that I drove. It's not better than a Honda Accord. I mean, it has a good turning radius, better turning radius, and it's flat. It reminds me somewhat of the Honda Accord, but not the same as it. The Altima, where it stands is, I don't think there's a segment where it like shines the most. Maybe it does, so you have to do the shopping for yourself. I've actually enjoyed having this car from Tuesday through Friday. It was actually a good experience with this car. It's nice and smooth. It was actually a great highway cruiser, a fantastic highway cruiser. And I know it's a good city car, so give the Altima a shot, I would say this. But hopefully Nissan will get out of this little reputation of the CVTs and give what the consumers really want. But who knows? Only time will tell. This is Omar from my point of view, and thank you guys so much for watching.